In this episode,
I guess I would call one of them definitive, like what you wanted is definitively a no. And the other one I would call a roadblock or a detour. And sometimes you might think it's a definitive no, but it's actually just a roadblock or a detour. So let's get into that as well. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to today's episode of Aulona Alchemy. We are hanging out by the pool today. I have this amazing cozy sweater on. I've got my Jordans and I've got this amazing latte, this cup I got in Amsterdam. Most importantly, today I'm just showing up with my raw, authentic truth. I mean, I do believe I do that in every episode. However, this one's going to be a little different and more special because I didn't quite plan everything. I'm just allowing the universe to channel and speak right through me directly as I'm recording because I'm feeling called to do that. Today's episode is going to be about what we do when the manifestations we've been working on and we've been planning actually don't go our way. What do we do? Bummer, right? And I'm actually in that position right now. Like, I'm actually going through that right now, which you might think, like, whoa, how can my manifesting mentor not have manifested something she wanted? Well, I'll explain to you what happens and why, and how do we move forward from here. And also, that's why I thought it would be extra special to record this episode here and now while I'm also going through it with you guys, because I believe you will be called to watch this episode when you need it. And when you do, you will see the resonance in my voice. You will see I'm here with you and we're going to get through this together. And just like we do in alchemy, we're going to turn this obstacle into opportunity. We're going to turn this pain into power, and we're going to manifest the life of our dreams. We are going to turn our dreams into reality. So let's get into it. When manifestations don't go your way, I would like to divide it into two types of the manifestation didn't go your way. I guess I would call one of them definitive, like what you wanted is definitively a no. And the other one I would call a roadblock or a detour. And sometimes you might think it's a definitive no, but it's actually just a roadblock or a detour. So let's get into that as well. A definitive no to your manifestation might be something like perhaps there was a job that you applied to and that you wanted, and you got an email back saying the position has been filled and it has not been given to you. So that's kind of a definitive no. Perhaps you might work at that company in the future. Perhaps you might get that role in the future, but at least for now, that was a no to that exact position that you wanted. Another definitive no might be, okay, we're going to need a sip for this one. Another definitive no might be that relationship or situationship or a significant other that you've been getting into it with, and you don't know if they're the one or if they're not the one. And then, people break up and get back together, and you think maybe when you're broken up, you might get back together. You never know. And then a definitive no to that might be perhaps something that they did or that happened that makes you feel inside that this is now a no. Like, for example, maybe they got married or had children or something, whatever it is that would make you feel like, okay, like this is just a definitive no from the universe to this situation happening, to this manifestation. So when you get what you perceive as a definitive no, I just want to tell you guys that this is the universe protecting you and redirecting you. What happens is something that we want so badly from the perspective that we have at that point in life might not always be what's best for us. So you need to trust the process. You need to trust that the universe is giving you what is of the highest good. And in the moment, that coexists with a lot of heartbreak and hurt. That coexists with feeling really down, and that's okay. But if you look back at your life, at a lot of things that you wanted and you didn't get, oftentimes you will see why it happened that way. You will see why the pieces had to fall in place that way. You can always connect the dots when you look backwards. Or what we say in construction sometimes is hindsight is always 2020. So when you look back, you can see why not getting that job or not being able to move to that city was actually a necessary step in your trajectory, in your life, in your path, because it forced you to do something else. And now you can see why that something else was necessary to your growth. So if you are in a definitive no to a certain manifestation that you wanted, I want you to trust that you wanted this particular thing because it was your idea of what would make you feel the happiest, the most complete, the most abundant, the most sexy, the most amazing in life. That was how you thought you would feel that way. So from your perception and from your consciousness, that is what you thought would get you there. I need you to trust that the universe knows better than you what will get you there. And if the universe is removing certain people, situations, or opportunities out of your life, perceived opportunities, then you need to trust that it is for the greater good. And you can trust that it's for the greater good, and you can trust the process and hang on and just know that in your mind, know it, while also feeling upset about what you didn't get. You're allowed to do those things at the same time. They can coexist. It's not like the moment you don't get that job or you go through that heartbreak, you're supposed to feel like, well, that's all right. I know right away that this is guiding me. It's okay to feel upset about it and hurt and, process your emotions, feel it to heal it. And all the while know that there is a path that is going to unfold before you, which will take you to your highest purpose, to your greatest good. And you need to trust that and keep going and turn inwardly and really trust the process. So if you got a definitive no, if you got the forever breakup, if you got the door slammed in your face, if you didn't get to move to the country, if you didn't get into the university, or if you didn't get this particular job, trust that this quote unquote rejection is a redirection and you are being guided towards your highest purpose. Now, sometimes what we think is a forever no and a forever rejection and a forever closed door isn't necessarily always the case. Actually, the more I started manifesting and flexing this muscle and practicing, I started questioning things that would become a no. I would just play this game like, is this really a no? Or is this a roadblock? So that's what you need to ask yourself sometimes. Sometimes a door which is slammed in your face or shut or closed, or an opportunity that is a perceived no, might just be a test for you to keep going, for you to develop your character further so you can become equal to the frequency and the vibration of what it is that you are working towards. So perhaps you are not ready yet, but that doesn't mean you should necessarily turn your back on it. That might mean it's a roadblock and you need to keep going. So I faced this when I was manifesting one of my first biggest manifestations, like I've told you guys, moving abroad to Spain. I got a lot of no's. Like I had the advisor of my university just reject my application at my uni for reasons I'll spare you the details for another day. He said no. And I remember being devastated. Like it was just a no. And then I remember trying to practice the secret and the law of manifestation. And I said, what if this is just a redirection? What if there is a way around this? What if I've been made to believe it's a no, but what if I can just keep my faith and keep trying? So I did, and I found a way around it. Now I'm being called to tell you guys just because it kind of puts context into it. Fine, I will tell you. I will tell you just so you have an idea of what it feels like to receive a seemingly definitive no and get around it. The definitive no from him came because that semester I had really bad grades. Like it might be a bit embarrassing, but I'm not embarrassed about it. Actually, I'm a successful engineer and project manager. Who cares that I had bad grades one semester? And in fact, like I'm quite proud of that time because those bad grades were not a reflection of my intelligence. It was a reflection of my growth at the time, something I was going through. So with love on that version of Lona, with love and compassion and hugs, I didn't have the best grades that semester, but I was doing a civil engineering major and I had a job and I did have a lot going on. So I remember the advisor of the study abroad program told me that I just didn't represent the university well. That I just basically I wasn't fit to represent our university abroad because my grades are just not like a resemblance of what they resemble at that university. That's what this guy told me. And they weren't failing, by the way. They were just like middle. Like they were not great and they were not failing, but you needed to have a certain GPA each semester in order to study abroad. That was one of the criteria. So here it was in the spring. I think it was the end of spring, and I wanted to go either in the fall or the following spring. So I was like, what am I going to do? It was a definitive no. He rejected my application and I was crushed. And it was that very same person who actually inspired me to want to study abroad when I was a freshman. So I remember being so devastated, like, how could you say that to me? And even though he told me my character did not represent a star student, I remember just knowing that was BS. I remember knowing like he doesn't know what it's like to walk a mile in my shoes or my path, and my grades are not representative of my character. I'm studying civil engineering and I have a lot on my plate emotionally, mentally, physically right now. So for him to say that, I was just like, there might be another student on here who might have straight A's, but that doesn't mean they have some character that is so much stronger than mine. Anyway, past that point, I practiced the law of attraction in my teachings back then, and I was just not going to take no for an answer. And you could see my own self-dialogue was doing the work for me not letting his words get me down. This authority figure who I kind of looked up to, just poo-pooing me that way. I at least had worked on myself enough to not let that deter me. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to let him stop me. I am going to show him. I'll show him my character. So over the summer, I actually took extra courses. I worked over the summer to save money because I had my vision. I'm going to España. So I worked over the summer. I saved money and I used some of that money to retake some classes so that I could erase the bad grade and replace it with a good grade. And then the fall came, and because I redid some of my classes from the previous semester and also took some classes to boost up my GPA, by the time the fall came, I actually got it up to par. And then I went right back in his office and showed him my papers, and then he let me in, obviously, and he was kind about it, and I wasn't a jerk about it either, but I remember being like, anyway, that was one example of a door getting slammed in my face, which was seemingly a definitive no, but practicing that thought process of, you know what if it's not a no? Let me think creatively of how can I get around this? How can I become stronger because of this? What can I do? So if you are now in a place where you just got a no, I want you to ask yourself, is it really a definitive one? And you might not find the answer today, but I want you to be open to creative opportunities for how you might still get what you want. Okay, I want you to trust the process, and I want you to see this obstacle as an opportunity. I want you to see it as an opportunity to raise your character even more, to raise your vibration even more, and to make yourself aligned with what it is that you're going after. And while doing this, I also want you to now accept the fact that after all of this, it still might not happen. Now, okay, again, it's like I'm taking you guys on a roller coaster. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because when you are so forcefully clutching towards something that you want, like I kind of wanted Spain in that way, but I also did the process I'm going to explain to you now. When you so forcibly latch onto something that you want so badly, you are actually pushing it away from you. That is forceful energy. That is manic manifesting. That is not the vibe. If you need something so badly that without it you will crumble and be crushed and fail and destroyed, well, you are not really manifesting, you are controlling. And it just doesn't work that way. Then you are trying to pull something towards you from kind of a manipulation place or from a fear-based place. You are manifesting from a place of fear, and feeling fear will only bring you more fearful situations. So you need to, while you look for, is there a way I can still make this happen? Is this probably just a obstacle and there's still a way I can get around it and still manifest and go towards my vision? Maybe. You need to work that out in your mind and be creative and do the inner work. But while you're exploring this and working on it, I also need you to get okay with in your heart that it might not work out. And you have to understand that if it doesn't work out, then you were just not meant to have that. As bad as you want, you need to understand, picture yourself down the line and picture, if I don't get this, and I gave it my all. If you know that you went after every roadblock and roadblock and roadblock and you kept going and you gave it your all and you gave it and you didn't let anyone tell you no and you kept going and you kept going and then you really reach the definitive no. If that happens, then you need to ease yourself from now and know from now that that thing or that experience wasn't meant for you and you are being guided and redirected towards something higher. So having that peace from now also allows you to move forward from a place of faith and manifestation and peace rather than a place of fear. So you can move forward and you can say, I'm not taking no for an answer. Nah, I'm not done just yet. I'm going to try again and I'm going to try again. And he thinks or she thinks or they think it's a no, but you know what? I've got some creative ideas up my sleeve of how I might turn this into a yes. So I'm going to go for that. But if I do all of that, if I really rack my brain and do it all and try my best and it still doesn't work out, I am going to be okay. Then I have to trust that the universe, the mind of the all, the guiding force, the brain who knows what you as a cell should be doing, that I need to trust that there is a bigger, higher, and better calling for me. And that's why when we manifest something, you always have to say, I want this or better. I want this or better. And that's really it, guys. That's really it. I promised I would keep this episode short, and I have to. The stars are aligning that my camera's gonna die and all of that. But I wanted to bring it back to me telling you guys I'm kind of going through that now. Firstly, as you'll see, I dyed my hair darker. Yes, queen. I literally dyed it earlier today. I had been wanting to do this anyway, just to go back to kind of my natural vibes. It's a bit darker than that, my natural, but whatever. I'd been wanting to do it anyway. And then today I realized like this kind of aligned with me going through kind of this difficult time right now. This time where something I really wanted just didn't work out, and I don't know, I don't think it's a definitive no just yet, but at the same time it was quite a blow where it was quite hurtful for me. It was heartbreaking. It's like it's something I wanted, and it's not material and it's not whatever whatever. I really wanted it and I am upset about it, and it's kind of like pushing me to think about my next steps in a different way. Like I had this plan of so many things, and I'm being forced to redirect in a way. And it is hard and it is sad and it is so emotional. It's kind of like the fire, calcination, and dissolution stage, the 1 and 2, and the alchemy. And I'm kind of going through that, and I have the hair to match. But it is okay to go through that and also have that faith that, you know what, I am being guided. I am going to be okay. Those things can coexist together. And I want to like share that raw, authentic thing from my heart to yours, because I want you to know that it is always okay to not be okay. And no matter how much you manifest in life, no matter how much money and adventure and love and travel, you cannot avoid this alchemy. I told you guys that alchemy is always happening, whether you are aware of it or not. And becoming aware of it just lets you turn the pain into power, turn the obstacles into opportunities, and turn the dream into reality. But it still presents you with pain and obstacles at times. And that is okay. That is definitely okay. We're going to get through this together. And you know what's like, it's kind of liberating to share this with you because I'm recording this in mid-March. If you look at my Instagram, it is my life. Like in January, I was from Dubai to Boston and back to Dubai. And then in February, I did Dubai to India, and now in March, Dubai to Lebanon and Beirut. And I've been having these amazing trips and these amazing adventures. And then while I am here in Dubai, I'm surrounded by the most loving, beautiful, amazing people, and I'm having such a good time. And all of that is coexisting. Like what you see on my Instagram is my life. It's what I'm doing. But what you won't get to see on like a two-dimensional feed, maybe you'll get a bit more of it now on this podcast of the human experience, is that that stuff which I manifested and the way I live can coexist with a hard time in life. And so if you are going through a hard time in life, don't look at someone's Instagram and think like they have the perfect life, because no matter what someone's experience is on the outside, no matter what amazing, beautiful things they manifested, which I have successfully manifested those, no matter what, they will always be going through the alchemy that you won't always know about. And if you're going through the alchemy right now, and if you're in a difficult part of it, trust it's a part of the process. So start thinking to yourself, how can I use this? How can I use this as the prima materia? How can I catalyze this situation into something? How can I make alchemy? How can I be an alchemist out of this? And I'm going to leave you with an extremely powerful mantra to move forward in life with. I want you to, while you move forward, take some time to surrender what you want to the universe. That is also what I'm going to do. Sometimes when you manifest and manifest and manifest and do the work, all that's left to do is kind of hand it over and surrender it to the universe and trust and have faith that you will be guided there. You can go inwardly and you can continue to work on yourself and you can continue to have the faith, but you also need to allow the universe in to do its role. So in the spirit of surrender it over to the universe, I want you to say this mantra to the universe. It is from A Course in Miracles. I want you to say this mantra to the universe, and I want you to be open to receiving the answer. So the mantra is, Dear universe, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? Doesn't that feel so good to just let it out? Let it out. Hand it over to the universe. Hey, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. Dear universe, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? Release that and know that the answer is going to come to you. Whether it's going to come to you through a friend telling you something, or through an Instagram post that you see, or through an idea that you have, it will come to you if you are just open to receiving the message. So while you are in this turbulent time of navigating this thing that you wanted not working out the way you expected it to, I want you to keep the faith, to move forward, to surrender, to go inwardly, to see the obstacle as an opportunity, to find a way to turn this pain into power. Just like I went and did my grades and told that advisor, bam, baby, I'm going to España. I want you to find a way to turn the pain into power, the obstacle into opportunity. I want you to go inwardly and trust that it's okay to go through this. And I want you to also allow the universe in and know that it is co-creating with you, for you, not against you. And in doing so, I want you to every day say this mantra. I want you to ask the universe for guidance and be open to receiving the message. Let's close this episode together saying this beautiful mantra. And just know I love you so very much. Dear universe, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode, and let me know what you think about my hair. First of all, this is meant to be the part where I tell you to like, subscribe, and share. Come on now, hit that button as we speak. And I also want you to comment what you think about my hair. I'm always going through different like shades of blonde and lighter and darker. And I was just kind of feeling like going back to my natural color, and kind of feels good and moody right now to be like in this dark era. And I was also thinking to myself, like, as I'm working through this time, like, what if my hair gets lighter and lighter as things start to like shed, like a snake shedding its skin, since it is the Chinese year of the snake. Like, what if in this journey my hair gets lighter and lighter as I navigate through this time? Is that too deep? Anyway, that's how my mind works. I love you all so much. Like, subscribe, share. See you next time. Mwah.